Hello there guys and welcome to Sunday's live stream. I'm JWF1 and we are here for day 3 here at Paul Ricard. If you didn't see what happened yesterday, again a very close session just like in day 1. The whole pack separated by 0.7 of a second, but in the end, it was Sebastian Vettel that went to the top of the timing sheets, with Lewis Hamilton a further hundredths behind him, followed by Antonio Giovinazzi, who rounded out the top 3 in the Martini. A very impressive time for the Italian driver. As we're now on to day 3, hopefully it will be another great day here indeed. We've got some bright and sunny conditions here at the circuit Paul Ricard. Hopefully it should be another interesting day. But before we start then, let's have a look at the drivers that are being used for today then. So here we go then. So for Etihad BMW, we're seeing Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo again. EMR, Sebastian Vettel and their new test driver Felipe Massa. Eldorado, you'll be seeing Charles Leclerc and Ferdinand Hasberg, their new test driver recruit. Bud Light Lime, you'll be seeing Romain Grosjean and Danny Kvyat. GRM, Esteban Ocon and Arjun Maini. Suomi, Kevin Magnussen and Nico Kari. I said Kevin wasn't going to be here in Paul Ricard, but I was wrong. Martini, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. AMP, Pascal Wehrlein and Stoffel Vandoorne. British Airways Racing, Scott Dixon and Oliver Rowland. Shadow, Carlos Sainz Jr. and Sam Bird. And Mars Grand Prix will be having their official drivers, Felix Rosenqvist and George Russell. So, they are the drivers then taking part in today's test. As mentioned already, bright and sunny conditions. So, I think without further ado, let's get to day 3 of Paul Ricard. So, here we are then in the pit lane, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Felix Rosenqvist, so we will wait and get the session underway. It is again an hour session, TV graphics in full view. Who is going to be the man to be the first on track for today? And it should hopefully be quite an interesting day if that is the case, as hopefully we'll be in for another great day. Will the pack still be 0.7 between them? We'll wait and see. But we've got 2 cars already going out. One of them tried to jump the gun before this man. Romain Grosjean out on track. The first time he's driving the Bud Light Lime this season, after his new teammate Sergio Perez did most of the running yesterday alongside Danny Kvyat. Kvyat is in the car again, but this time he's got Grosjean alongside him. So Romain Grosjean out on the track, who outpaced Antonio Giovinazzi last season quite a lot, it must be said. Giovinazzi now a Martini driver. Can he do it with Sergio Perez? We'll have to wait and see. Scott Dixon out on track now then for British Airways Racing. We also have Arjun Maini out there as well. He was the Monster Grand Prix test driver before the team rebranded, but now he's a George Rope Motorsport test driver. Felix Rosenqvist out on track with his team Mars Grand Prix. We also have Ollie Rowland out there as well, along with Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Stoffel Vandoorne, Danny Kvyat, Pascal Wehrlein. We'll be expecting Ferdinand Hasberg, Felipe Massa, Lando Norris and Kevin Magnussen to join these guys in a little bit as we ride on board with Romain Grosjean now then, as he will approach the flat out right-hander on the track. Flat he will go as he uses a lot of curb on the outside there. Then through the double right-hander he will go, as he will make his way out of the turn now then, using the curb on the outside, as he will now go into the left-hander. And hopefully he'll be hoping that there's nobody at the end of the pit lane to possibly hold him up on his first flying lap now then, as Grosjean approaches the final 2 turns on the racetrack, as he prepares to start his first flying lap now then. Into the final corner we go now then, as he will head down the pit straight, and Grosjean is about to start his lap. Let's ride on board then with Romain Grosjean, as he now will head down towards the left-hander now then on the track, running on board with Grosjean into turns 1 and 2. Flat you go into these corners now then, as he will soon approach turns 3 and 4 on the racetrack. Into turn 3 and then into turn 4 we go, and then he'll go into the double right-handers of turns 5 and 6, using a tad bit of curb at turn 5 and a little bit at the exit through turn 6. A lot of curb being used there. Into turn 7 through this 90-degree left-hander. His first sector a 33.2, so that's that for Grosjean as he comes down this long back straight, heading towards the flat out turn number 8 on the racetrack, as he just goes down this long straight now then, passing where the bus stop chicane would be, but that's not available to us in this test. As Grosjean now then, he will go flat out through the right-hander, as he does a 57.1 in the second sector through the double right-hander he goes. And Grosjean now then, out of the turn he goes then, using the curb on the outside before approaching the left-hander of turn 11, I think this is, because I think that right-hander over there is a double corner through 12, and then into the last two corners of turns 13 and 14 now then. Medium speed corner turn 13, and then slowing it down for this 90-degree right-hander before heading it back down the pit straight. So what's the lap time going to be then for Romain Grosjean as he will now cross the line? And what's the lap time going to be? A 1:32.665, but that's beaten by Dixon, who goes a little bit quicker by 900ths of a second with the Mercedes powered behind him. They did pretty well yesterday. Arjun Maney then goes to the top. Rosenquist only 4th with that lap, 2/10 off Arjun Maney. Here is Oliver Rowland now then heading down the pit straight. Let's see what Rowland can do in the British Airways racing car. He goes fastest by just 11,000, but that doesn't last long because now Leclerc goes to the top by 6/10 of a second. Second goes to George Russell there in the Mars Grand Prix car. Here comes Stoffel Vandoorne. What can he manage? And Leclerc's actually set the fastest time we've seen all weekend. He beats Lewis's time, I think. Vandoorne goes 6th. 5th for Danny Kvyat. Pascal Wehrlein crosses the line to go P10 with that lap. Here is Felipe Massa in the EMR, and with his new job, of course, he did drive in the second half of the season for Monza Grand Prix, but now he's been given a test driver role at East Midlands Racing, replacing Rio Harayanto, who's gone to do test driver duties at AMP Racing. As here is Felipe Massa now then. Across the line goes the Brazilian veteran, and he goes 6th fastest with that lap, and then down to 7th because Lando Norris in the Martini goes 3rd fastest. A good time from him there. Here comes Ferdinand Hasberg. Across the line goes the Season 4 GP3 champion. He goes 4th fastest with that lap. A good time from Ferdinand Hasberg. P3 for Kevin Magnussen. And so that's that really. So at the moment then, it is currently Leclerc at the top with Russell 2nd, Magnussen 3rd, Norris 4th, Hasberg 5th, Rowland 6th, Maney 7th, Kvyat 8th, Massa 9th, Dixon 10th, Vandoorne 11th, Grosjean 12th, Rosenquist 13th, and Wehrlein in 14th position. These guys are now going to be heading back into the pits. And Magnussen showing some good pace. His teammate Kimi Raikkonen appeared to struggle yesterday, it must be said, only languishing outside the top 10. And Magnussen trying to see if he can try and stretch a little bit more pace in this Suomi now then as he goes down the long straight. And he'll be obviously heading back into the pit lane this lap. In front of him is the Eldorado test driver, Ferdinand Hasberg. So he's out there on the track now then, as Magnussen will make his way towards turn number 8. Obviously these guys going back in very soon as we wait for another set of cars to go out. Of course, 8 drivers still yet to do a lap time at the moment. They include both the Etihad, Sebastian Vettel, who topped it yesterday, Esteban Ocon in the GRM, who else as well, and I think Max Verstappen as well, we're expecting as well in the Martini. His teammate did a good job yesterday to get up into 3rd. Verstappen will be looking to try and match that if he can, as Magnussen now makes his way round this left-hander using the curb on the outside there then, as Magnussen now then will approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. So through the left he goes, and then into the final corner will go Kevin Magnussen, as he uses all the curb on the outside to then go back into the pits as we wait for another set of cars to go out on the track. So we've got somebody going out now that looks like a shadow, I think, that's going out. No, it's an Etihad, in fact. It's Lewis Hamilton. They've been doing that the past 2 days, getting one of their cars out in the second group first, and it's Lewis Hamilton that gets out on track first of all, and his teammate is obviously joining him afterwards, Daniel Ricciardo. So Etihad continuing a little bit of a trend for the 3rd day in a row here at Paul Ricard. But Hamilton now then out on track, and obviously just got his best time just beaten already by Charles Leclerc, who does a 1:31.8. Hamilton will be trying to snatch that back off him if he can, as now Hamilton just goes around the double right-hander on the racetrack as he goes through the left-hander, going down the long straight on the track. And as Hamilton now then just preparing himself for his first line lap along with his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Sebastian Vettel, who topped yesterday's session, is out on track. We also have Max Verstappen out there as well, Sam Bird, Nico Kari, Carlos Sainz Jr. out there as well. We also have Daniel Kvyat, Felix Rosenquist, Ferdinand Hasberg, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, Stoffel Vandoorne. Those guys expect to come out on the track in a little bit. Hamilton now then just going around the double right-hander on the track, using a tad bit of curb on the outside as he makes his way into the left-hander, as now he uses quite a lot of curb on the outside, it must be said, as they now make their way into the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And Hamilton now then into the final corner as they make their way down the pit straight, and Hamilton is about to start his next flying lap, heading down the straight as he will now approach turns 1 and 2. And Hamilton now then approaching the first 2 turns on the racetrack, And Flatty goes then through turn 1, then into turn 2. Sparks coming off the back of his Etihad, and we'll have a look and see in a little bit what his first sector is like. Ricardo looking at that Eldorado and didn't come out right in front of him, so Ricardo's still got a little bit of a clear track in front to really push hard and try and challenge Leclerc's time if he can. So Hamilton now then makes his way around the double right-hander on the track. Let's see what his first split is going to be like. Hamilton coming into the first sector now then. 900ths off Leclerc in the first sector, so not that far off Leclerc at the moment. So Hamilton looking to pull a little bit of a challenge. Let's see what his second sector is like, as it's just basically a straight. Heading down the long straight now then goes Lewis Hamilton as we ride on board with the defending champion, as he will now approach turn number 8, the flat out turn number 8. Let's see what his second split is going to be like. He's 2 tenths down, so he lost quite a bit of time down that straight that time by. Hamilton now then going around the double right-hander on the racetrack as he uses the curb on the outside, heading in towards the next left-hander on the track. And Hamilton now then using the curb on the outside before approaching the final 2 turns. We know that the Etihad is actually quite good in this last sector. We've seen it over the last 2 days now, but let's see if that's going to continue, as Hamilton will now approach the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the defending champion. And Lewis Hamilton is about to cross the line, and what's lap time going to be? And he only goes 5th with that lap, 5 tenths off the pace at the moment. So Hamilton only 5th for the moment. What about his teammate Daniel Ricciardo? Let's see what he can do. Across the line goes the Honey Badger, and he goes 4th fastest. So he's outpacing his teammate at the moment to go 4th, but then it becomes 5th because Vettel now goes to 4th, and then that becomes 6th for Ricciardo because Verstappen's gone up to 4th now. So a lot of people seem to take 4th place at the moment, it must be said. Here is Sam Bird now then coming down the long straight, and let's see what Mr. Bird can do. And he goes 10th fastest for the moment. Nico Kari slots to 16th in the Suomi. Carlos Sainz Jr. now then heading into the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And let's see what Sainz is able to do. Coming out of the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go. And the Spaniard crosses the line, and only good enough for 14th place that time by. Danica Fiat currently in 13th. Can the Bud Light line find some time to improve? And he can, but only up into 12th place. So he's only gained a little bit. Felix Rosenqvist crosses the line, goes up to 7th. A big improvement for him there, so showing a little bit of pace in the Mars Grand Prix car is Felix Rosenqvist. Here's Charles Leclerc, the man currently at the top of the timing sheets. Across the line he will go, and he does not improve, remains where he is at the moment. Ocon though goes up to 2nd, a good time from him. P2 for the Frenchman, P12 for Stoffel Vandoorne, a slight improvement for him. Here's George Russell in the Mars Grand Prix car. Russell currently in, where is Russell at the moment? He's currently in, I can't find his name. Well, he remains where he is at this stage. Russell currently in 3rd place at the moment. Russell's actually doing quite a good job, it must be said. Currently up in 3rd place. He struggled yesterday in the Martini, it must be said, but clearly finding a little bit more pace in the Mars Grand Prix car. Let's see what Ferdinand Hasberg can do, and he does not improve, remains in 11th place at the moment, just outside the top 10. The Etihad's currently 7th and 10th. I do expect possibly a little bit more from him. Remember, lap times do like to improve as the session progresses. We saw Hamilton yesterday take chunks of time out of Vettel's gap, so but Vettel was just able to stay at the top of the timing sheets. And speaking of Vettel, he just goes into his box now then, as relating some feedback back to the team, as we now look at Ferdinand Hasberg as he just goes around the double right-hander as he makes his way down the straight. And Hasberg currently in P number 11 at the moment at this stage, as he makes his way down the long straight on the track. And Hasberg currently P11, as he'll be heading back into the pits this lap, it must be said. So at the moment then, with just 12 minutes gone, it's Leclerc fastest, Ocon 2nd, Russell 3rd, Magnussen 4th, Verstappen 5th, Vettel 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Rosenqvist 8th, Norris 9th, Hamilton 10th, Hasberg 11th, Vandoorne 12th, Bird 13th, Rowland 14th, Kvyat 15th, Maney 16th, with Sainz 17th, Massa 18th, Dixon 19th, Kari 20th, Grosjean 21st, and Verline in 22nd position. So Verline clearly struggling. His teammate doing a better job than what AMP has done so far to get himself up into 12th place, but lap times could improve. It could change things from there, as Scott Dixon is now out on the track along with Lando Norris, Romain Grosjean and Pascal Verline. Arjun mainly coming out of the pits. We're expecting Kevin Magnussen to also join these guys in a little bit. We'll look at Dixon now then, the British Airways racing car. British Airways did quite a good job yesterday to finish up in 11th and 12th, with Barrichello 11th and De Vries in 12th position. So a very good day for the British Airways racing guys there. And so far 19th and 14th at the moment, so not bad, but Dixon clearly will want to find a little bit more time to improve, considering Barrichello got it up into 11th place, and that will be his teammate, of course, for this season, as Dixon now makes his way into the left-hander on the track, using the curb on the outside before approaching the final 2 turns on the racetrack. As Dixon now then will start his next flying lap, currently 19th, 7/10 off Charles Leclerc at the moment, heading out of the final turn, as he will come down the pit straight. As a few cars come out on the track, Dixon will be hoping that none of them hold him up as he just goes past the pit exit, and nobody does. So right on board then with the Kiwi, as Dixon now then makes his way into the first 2 turns on the racetrack now then. Just coming off the turn, heading into turns 3, 4 and 5 he will soon go. Into the right, then into the left, and then into the right-hander he will soon go. The double right-hander of turns 5 and 6 now then, as he uses the curve on the outside. Around the long swooping right-hander we go, as Dixon now then makes his way into the left-hander, going down at the long straight, and let's see what his first split is like. 1/10 down in the first sector now then. We need to see what his second sector is like before drawing any conclusions, and even then we can't really draw any conclusions, because we know that previous days in the last sector people tend to lose time in that last sector, it must be said, and we've even seen the biggest one they've lose time was 6/10 yesterday, so you can't really judge anything. Let's see what Dixon's second split is like. Round the flat out right-hander he goes, and he's 1/10 down still in the second sector, so let's see if he can improve. Let's see if he can hook up this last sector pretty well now then, heading out of that right-hander, using the curb on the outside, and then heading into the left-hander he will now go, as now he uses the curb on the outside there, then heading into the final 2 turns, and Dixon then is about to finish off his next flying lap as he goes through the left-hander, heading into the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and let's see if he can improve or whether he's lost a lot of time in the last sector. Dixon across the line he will go, and he does improve. He goes up to 13th, a big improvement there then, so Dixon up into P13, getting in front of teammate Roland. Hamilton and Riccardo starting another lap. They'll be hoping not to impede each other, it must be said. Norris remains 9th for the moment. His teammate Verstappen just starting a lap, currently 5th at the moment. Here's Grosjean, currently 21st, desperate to try and find some improvement in that car. There's Grosjean now that makes his way out of the final turn now, then heading down the pit straight, and Grosjean now then across the line he will go, and he goes up to 6th, a big improvement there then from Grosjean. It pushes Hamilton outside the top 10, so Hamilton looking to try and find a little bit more improvement in the car if he can. Verline across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve, remains 22nd, still a second off Charles Leclerc at the moment, as Arjun Maini crosses the line, and Arjun Maini remains in 18th place. Here is Sebastian Vettel heading into the final corner, and so now heading down the pit straight, as Vettel will cross the line, and he goes up to 4th, an improvement there for Vettel, so that's P4 for them, as we now look at Kevin Magnussen. And Magnussen now then will cross the line, and he goes up to 5th, so an improvement there then for Kevin to get himself up into P5. Sam Bird in the shadow heads out of the final turn, and let's see what Bird can manage. He goes across the line, and he goes up to 15th, an improvement for him there then. Ollie Rowland, let's see what he can manage in the British Airways racing car. Rowland across the line he goes, and he improves but remains in 16th place. Nico Kari, who's currently in 21st, remains 21st for the moment. Carlos Sainz Jr. only goes up to 15th to just get himself just in front of Sam Bird there. Here's Lewis Hamilton heading out of the final turn, and Hamilton now then will cross the line. Can he find some improvement in the car? He can. He goes up to 3rd with that lap. What about Daniel Ricciardo? He doesn't. He remains 9th for the moment. Verstappen remains 7th. No improvement for him, and nobody else appearing to be on a lap at this stage. So at the moment, still Leclerc fastest with Ocon 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, Russell 4th, Vettel 5th, Magnussen 6th, Verstappen 7th, Grosjean 8th, Ricciardo 9th, Rosenquist in 10th with Norris 11th, Hasberg 12th, followed by Van Dorn 13th, Dixon 14th, Sainz 15th, Bird 16th, Rowland 17th, Kvyat 18th, Maini 19th, Massa 20th, Kari 21st, and Verline in 22nd position. So that's how that currently looks at the moment. So Hamilton just makes his way out of the turn there then, and he'll be obviously heading back into the pits this lap. And so Hamilton just going down the long straight on the racetrack as Vettel goes into the pits there then for EMR. And Vettel now then just going into the pits as there are his mechanics just waiting for him there then. As Vettel now then looking to see if he can try and find some more improvement. Currently in 5th place at the moment in this session. Magnussen into the pits now then. And Magnussen just pulls into his box, and we'll be having a bit of a briefing if he can, just to try and find a little bit more improvement in the car. As now we've got Felipe Massa out on track now then for East Midlands Racing, down in 20th. He'll be looking to try and improve as well, with his teammate up in 5th place, Sebastian Vettel. And Massa now then just going around these section of corners now then he will go, as he makes his way into the double right-hander on the track, using the curb on the outside. So now through the double right-hander he goes, and then approaching into the left-hander. As Massa now then will head down the straight and look to try and find some improvement in his current lap time at the moment. Also on the track we have Stoffel Van Dorn for AMP. Esteban Ocon's also come out, Felix Rosenqvist, and we're expecting Danny Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen, Lando Norris, George Russell, Scott Dixon, Pascal Wehrlein, Arjun Maney, Ferdinand Asperg, Romain Grosjean and Charles Leclerc to also come out on the track. As Massa now then makes his way through the double right-hander on the racetrack, as he just comes off the turn now then, heading in towards the left-hander. So he uses quite a lot of curb on the outside there. Then Massa heading in towards the final 2 turns, and Massa now then heading into the final corner, and onto the pit straight he will now go. And so he will now start his next flying lap, as a few cars in front of him just coming out onto the track, and he'll be hoping that car on the left of him there does not hold him up, and that is his own teammate, I think. No, it's not. It looked like that from a blurred vision, but it's actually a British Airways racing car. I don't know why it was a little bit blurred there. As Scott Dixon now then out on the track now then, as Massa will look to put a pass on him then into turn 3, which he does so. And Massa probably getting his lap a little bit impeded there as a result. We ride on board with the Brazilian veteran, as he uses quite a bit of curb on the outside. Through the double right-hander he will go, as Massa now then through the left-hander heading down the long straight, as he's 900ths off in the first sector. So he didn't lose that much time, it must be said, in the first sector, despite that little hold up there from I think it was Scott Dixon. It was Scott Dixon, but Dixon looking to try and get him back onto the straight, in fact. So this will not help Massa in any way, shape or form. Dixon going to try and have a look to the inside there of Felipe Massa, but it looks like Massa's just going to shut the door on him there then, so Dixon will have to back out of it, which he does. And Massa, his second split, 1/10 down that time by. He was lucky that Dixon didn't impede him around that corner, it must be said, as now he makes his way into the section of corners now then. Massa using the curb on the outside, in towards the left-hander he goes, as the EMR now then using the curb on the outside before approaching the final 2 corners on the racetrack. And let's see what Felipe Massa can do. So now he approaches that final turn, and heading down the pit straight he will go. And Massa now then is going to cross the line. Can he improve on his lap time? And he can. He goes up to 3rd. A big improvement there then for Felipe Massa. He's even outpacing Vettel. So Massa up into 3rd place. A good time from the Brazilian there then, as we now look at Stoffel Van Dorn heading into the final 2 turns. And let's see what Stoffel can do. So he makes his way down the pit straight. Van Dorn will cross the line, currently in 14th. Can he find some more improvement in the car? And he does not improve, remains 14th with that lap. Ocon remaining 2nd. And that's that really, as we now look at Felix Rosenqvist, who heads into the final 2 turns on the racetrack. As now Rosenqvist into that final turn he goes, using a lot of curb on the inside there then, as Rosenqvist makes his way down the pit straight, and Rosenqvist will now cross the line, and he does not improve. Rosenqvist remaining in 11th position, it must be said. Kvyat now then coming out of that final turn, and Kvyat now then will come across the line. And does he improve? No, he can't. Kvyat remaining in 19th place. Arjun Maini across the line he goes, and he goes up to 11th. So an improvement for him there then. Leclerc remains on a 1 minute 31.842. Still 2 tenths clear of Esteban Ocon at the moment. George Russell across the line he will go, and he does not improve. Russell remaining where he is at the moment, which is 5th place at the moment. Romain Grosjean crosses the line, remains in 9th. As we now look at Lando Norris in the Martini. Norris will cross the line, and he remains 13th for the moment. Kevin Magnussen stays in 7th as Hasberg remains 14th for the minute. As now here is Pascal Wehrlein we'll look at, as Dixon has actually put an improvement in. We didn't see him there, but Dixon has gone up to 14th place, so an improvement there then for the Kiwi, as he currently outpaces teammate Roland, who's down in 19th place. As Wehrlein now then makes his way around the double right-hander using the curb on the outside. As now into the left hand he goes. As now he uses the curb on the outside now then. Up towards the final 2 corners will go Pascal Wehrlein. Through the left hand he goes, and then into the final corner will go the German. As he will now make his way down the pit straight, and Wehrlein is going to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. Can he get out of that dreaded last place? No, but he has improved on his times, and now the whole pack is separated by 9/10 of a second. Not the closest we've had. The whole pack so far in the last 2 days have been separated by 7/10. So Wehrlein's got to find a further 2/10 if he wants to continue that little trend that's going on at the moment throughout the whole pack. As now we will expect a few more cars to come out on track, as we have just over 36 minutes to go here for day 3 of the Paul Ricard tests. Of course, we've got one more day tomorrow here at Paul Ricard, and then we're off to RF next weekend, and then the weekend after we'll be off to Melbourne for the start of the new season. And so far at the moment, I have to obviously at the moment we'll obviously have after Australia the pre-season test for GP2, so look out for that as well. All the drivers have been confirmed. It's just deliveries now that need to be sorted, as Wehrlein now then makes his way towards the flat out right-hander he goes. So now Wehrlein makes his way into the double right-hander on the racetrack. As now Wehrlein will make his way into the left-hander. And Wehrlein now then using the curb on the outside there then, as Wehrlein now makes his way into the final 2 turns. As he will now come into the pits this lap, as we now have got Ollie Rowland out on track for British Airways Racing. So Oliver Rowland has now come out onto the track, as he will now go down this long straight. As also on the track we have Nico Kari for Suomi Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz Jr., Max Verstappen, Sam Bird, Sebastian Vettel, Esteban Ocon, and we're expecting Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Massa, Stoffel Van Dorn, Danny Kvyat, Charles Leclerc and Daniel Ricciardo to also come out on the track in a little bit. But also just a little note as well, we're all hoping that Sophia Florsch makes a full recovery after that huge crash that happened earlier today at Macau. From what we understand, I think somebody actually broke test in front and she didn't spot it, and she ended up flying over the back of a car, which is why she ended up landing on that, what do you call it, that little stand over there, and then she came to a rest on top of a destroyed catch fencing. So luckily she is conscious. It's good to hear that she is still alive. She did keep us updated on Twitter, but we're really hoping that the surgery that she's having tomorrow morning in regards to the fracture on her spine is a success, and we're all hoping that it is not a career-ending accident, because Sophia has got pretty much a good history in front of her, I think, because she is doing quite a good job, it must be said. She's done had a very good year this year, and it's a shame that she's ended a year with a very bad accident. So hopefully it's not a career-ending accident, and we hope to see her back in a race car very, very soon. So good luck to you, Sophia, and hopefully the surgery tomorrow is a success. Rolling now then, just going back to the action, 1/10 off in the first set, nearly 2 tenths, as he's got Charles Leclerc all over him at the moment. Leclerc desperate for him to get out of the way so he can have a clear lap next time by, and he had to back out of that one. As Leclerc now then getting in the slipstream now then of Roland, who's currently on a lap at this stage, as they now make their way into the flat out right-hander. Roland shutting the door on him there into that corner, and he's 1/10 down that time by in the second sector. Roland just making his way then around this double right-hander on the racetrack. As now we ride on board with Roland, using quite a lot of curb on the outside in towards the left-hander we go. As now using quite a lot of curb on the outside there then, as he will now make his way into the final 2 turns there. So if you saw a little lag spike there on RE Central, which is why you saw it fast forward just a little bit into the final turn, and onto the pit straight we go. Roland, can he find some improvement in the car? Across the line he goes, and no, he can't. Remains where he is at the moment. Leclerc looking like he's going to get held up on his lap as Kvyat starts the lap. Nico Kari does not improve. Van Dorn and Russell starting a lap. Here is Carlos Sainz Jr. heading into the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Let's see what the Spaniard can do. Making his way out of that final turn and onto the pit straight then goes Carlos Sainz Jr. as he will now cross the line, and he does not improve. Remains where he is at the moment, which is 17th place. So not a good session so far for Shadow. Verstappen remains in 8th place. Bird staying where he is in 18th. Sebastian Vettel crosses the line, remains in 6th place at this stage, as we now look at Esteban Ocon, and he does not improve. Ocon remaining in 2nd place for the minute. Massa on a lap at the moment. Massa currently 3rd behind Esteban Ocon. So let's see what Massa can do then on this lap, as he will now approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Massa now then up towards the final 2 corners, then he will go around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Felipe Massa. So Massa now then will cross the line, and he does not improve. Massa remaining where he is at this stage, so remains in 3rd. Daniel Ricciardo now then heading down the pit straight. Let's see what Danny Rick can do, as he will now cross the line, and he does not improve. Remains in 10th place with that lap. Lewis Hamilton across the line he will go. Can he find some time to improve? He can. He goes up to 3rd. So Hamilton getting back up to 3rd. Roland going into the pits. Leclerc got really held up there. How much time did he lose from Roland? And there you go, over a second. So a lot of time lost there for Charles Leclerc. Van Dorn does not improve. I don't think Kvyat did either. No, Kvyat didn't improve either on his lap. George Russell across the line remains in 5th place at the moment, as we try and find if anybody else is doing a lap. It doesn't appear like it. I think everybody is now coming back into the pits, as we now look at Russell, who'll be heading into the pits this lap anyway. Just over 31 minutes to go then in this section, just going around turns 3, 4, and then into the double right-hander of turns 5 and 6, as he just makes his way around these section of corners now then through the double right-hander we go, as now through the left-hander he goes now then down the long straight. As he makes his way down the long straight, he will soon go on the racetrack. And so now heading towards the flat-out right-hander, as now coming up towards the flat-out right-hander he will go. So let's see, second split, 1/10 down in the second sector, as he now makes his way into these section of corners now, then he will go. As now through the left-hander then goes George Russell, using a lot of curb on the outside there then. As now he will make his way into the final 2 turns, and he will head into the pits this lap, as Lando Norris, his fellow compatriot and Formula 2 rival in real life, well, not really anymore. Albon's pretty much splitting them, isn't he? But Norris out on track now then, as he makes his way around the double right-hander. And Alexander Albon, in fact, is actually a test driver in this series, part of East Midlands Racing, who'll be driving in their GP2 team for this season as well. So East Midlands Racing hoping he can do a good job alongside Nicholas Latifi, as Norris now then comes down the long straight. As now Norris will come down that long straight, he will go, as he will soon approach the long swooping right-hander in a little bit. And so up towards that flat-out right-hander he will go, as he just makes his way around that section of corner, and now into the double right-hander he will go, As now Norris just coming off the turn now, using a lot of curb on the outside. Norris approaching the left-hander as he will soon start his lap. Scott Dixon now out on track as well for British Airways Racing. We also have Felix Rosenqvist out there, Arjun Maini, Ferdinand Hasberg, Kevin Magnussen, Romain Grosjean, Nico Kari, Sam Bird, Pascal Wehrlein, Daniel Ricciardo, Oliver Rowland, Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel will also join these guys in a little bit as we ride on board with Lando Norris now then, as he will soon approach the first 2 turns on the racetrack. Here is Lando now then, through turn 1 he goes and then into turn 2. And now coming off the turn, heading in towards turns 3, 4 and 5 he'll soon go. So through the right and then into the left hander he goes now then. And then up towards the double right hander he will go. So now just making his way around that double right hander as he will now approach the next left hander on the track. Let's see what Norris's second split is going to be like. First split, sorry, he's 1/10 down in the first sector as we ride on board with Lando now then, approaching the flat out right hander he will soon go. And Norris now then getting the grunt of that Renault V12 that's in the back of that Martini at the moment, heading down the long straight as he will now approach the flat out right hander very soon. Into the right hander he goes. Let's see what his second split is going to be like. 1/10 down in that sector as well. Let's see if he can try and hook it up in the last sector and see if this will be an improvement now then for Lando Norris, as he uses a lot of curb on the outside in towards the left hander we go. As now he just comes off the turn and now making his way into the left hander he will now go. And let's see what Lando Norris can do. And the Martini now then is going to cross the line. Norris now then, let's see what his lap time is going to be. And he does not improve, remains in 13th place as we now look at Scott Dixon. Across the line goes the British Airways Racing driver and Dixon remains in 14th. Rosenqvist remains 12th at this stage. As we now look at Arjun Maini in the GRM. Maini currently in where is he, in 11th, so he's actually doing quite a good job, it must be said. Ocon currently up in 2nd place. Let's see what Arjun Maini can do. The young Indian driver is going to cross the line. No improvement for him, remains in P number 11. Here comes Ferdinand Hasberg. The Austrian crosses the line and remains in 15th. Vettel starting a lap, as is Verstappen. Now we look at Kevin Magnussen in the Suomi. Heading into the final corner he goes. And Magnussen now then will now cross the line. Let's see what he can do. And he remains in 7th place for the moment. So no improvement there then for Kevin Magnussen. Here comes Romain Grosjean heading down the pit straight. And Grosjean now then will cross the line. Can he improve? He can't. He remains 9th at this stage. Nico Kari in the Suomi. Across the line he goes, and he goes up to 8th. A big improvement there then for Kari. He gets behind teammate Magnussen, so up into P8 goes Nico Kari at the moment. Sam Bird heading out of the final turn. Let's see what he can manage in this shadow. Bird currently in 19th. Can he find some time to improve? No, he can't. Remains 19th for the moment. Pascal Wehrlein heading out of the final turn. Can he find some time in the car? Wehrlein, across the line he goes, and he does find a little bit of time. The pack now separated by 8 tenths, but he's still last at the moment. Daniel Ricciardo across the line, and he goes up to 9th, so a slight improvement there then for Ricciardo. Rowland remains in 20th position. Nice going back into the pits there, as we now look at Sebastian Vettel, who's 500ths off in the second sector. Verstappen there you just saw 1/10 off in the second sector. Let's see if the pair of them can hook it up in the last sector now then. So through the left hander goes Sebastian Vettel, using a lot of curb on the outside, as Vettel now then will approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Sebastian Vettel now then through the left hander, as he will now approach the final corner, and he'll soon go onto the pit straight. And Sebastian Vettel now then is now going to come across the line. Can Vettel improve on his lap now then? Currently 6th. Across the line he goes, and he can't. Remains 6th place for the moment. Max Verstappen, did he hook it up in the last sector? Nope. He remains 10th for the moment, so he's still in the cusp of the top 10 at this stage. As now we'll try and find if anybody else is on a lap. I don't think they are, But we will have a check either way. I think that's everybody done on this group to do a lap. So we're just under 25 minutes to go in the session. Here is what the leaderboard looks like then. It's Leclerc on top with Ocon second, Hamilton third, Massa fourth, Russell fifth, Vettel sixth, Magnussen seventh, Kari eighth, Ricciardo ninth, Verstappen 10th, Grosjean 11th, Maney 12th, Rosenquist 13th, Norris 14th, Dixon 15th, Hasberg 16th, Van Dorn 17th, Sainz 18th, Bird 19th, Roland 20th, Kvyat 21st, and Verline in 22nd position. So that's how that currently looks at the moment. The whole pack separated at the moment by just 0.8 of a second, so quite close indeed. Not the closest we've seen for the whole pack, because the previous 2 days have been closed up by 0.7, but it's still close nonetheless between all 11 teams at the moment. So very close indeed at the moment, it must be said, so far in the V12 era. Whether that will change next weekend in Jerez, though, with a few teams probably bringing upgrades at that rate, at day one of Jerez, we'll have to wait and see on that. But anyway, so coming out of that turn 10 then goes Verstappen, and he'll be heading back into the pits this lap anyway, as he just makes his way out of the turn using the curb on the outside there then. And Verstappen, of course, will be coming back into the pits this lap as he just makes his way into the final 2 turns on the racetrack, and then into the final corner he will go as he will pull over to the right, and Verstappen now then goes into the pits. So that's that for him really now then, as we've now got Stoffel Van Dorn and Carlos Sainz Jr. out on track, and also Lewis Hamilton as well for Etihad BMW, as Van Dorn now then approaches the double right-hander on the track, and just going out of the turn now then. I thought for a minute they had a little bit of understeer going into turn 10 there, but that wasn't the case. We're 18 minutes away from the 4 o'clock mark for anybody wondering, so that's that really, as Van Dorn will now approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack, and now up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Stoffel Van Dorn, as he will now start his next flying lap along with Carlos Sainz Jr. behind him as well, riding on board with the Belgian Stoffel Van Dorn, heading in towards the flat out turns 1 and 2 now then, through turn 1 and then into turn 2 he will go. And then using quite a bit of curb on the outside as we will now approach turns 3, 4 and 5. 5 is this one here, look, and then into 6 is a double right-hander through this part of the course now then. Through the double right-hander we go, and we've got a yellow flag. That's down at turns 1 and 2, and it's Hamilton. Hamilton has gone for a spin down at turn 1, and he's had a collision with fellow compatriot Lando Norris, and that's a big spin indeed. I wonder how many G that was. That was an horrific spin there from Hamilton. That will definitely make him a little bit sick in the cockpit, I wouldn't lie. But yeah, I think that was probably because Lando was probably coming out of the pits at this point and probably just didn't see Hamilton in there, and they both actually went for a spin. Lando's also gone for a spin as well, but his was not as fast as what Hamilton's spin was coming off the turn. I'll have another look, and there you go then, really. So Hamilton, and look at that on the onboard camera. If anybody suffers from anybody gets really dizzy easily, I would suggest you probably turn away from that at that point. But yeah, that's that really. Hamilton with a big spin there. Lando Norris also spinning as well, and well, luckily neither of them sustained any damage from that, but that's definitely cost Hamilton some lap time in trying to overhaul Leclerc. And oh, that was a dangerous rejoin. That was Massa who's gone for a spin there. Massa had to really avoid him there, and well, and oh no, they've both been clumsy now. Massa's just rejoined right in the path of Lewis Hamilton, and well, Hamilton's gonna have to climb into the T-car, and well, that's that really. So well, an accident there then. So Hamilton rejoined quite clumsily there as Massa went for a bit of a spin as he tried to keep it going. It then just looked like he just lost it a little bit more, and both of them were basically passengers at that point. But that was a bit of a dangerous rejoin there for Hamilton coming into the path of Massa, but then you could argue Massa just did the same thing to him there. So both in the wrong there, it must be said, in that session. So Hamilton's going to have to climb back into the T-car, and Massa's going to have to pit for a new front wing as a result. So drama already then here in testing. So we try and get back to Van Dorn if we can. He's still on a lap. Here he is. He was in front of the yellow flag zone, so he's not had to slow down at all. They've now cleared Lewis Hamilton's Etihad, as now they just make their way out of the left-hander. And now into the final 2 turns we will go. And let's see what Stoffel Van Dorn can do as he makes his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go. And Van Dorn is now going to cross the line And let's see what on earth happens. No improvement from them. For Van Dorn, no improvement for him. Sainz improves, but only up to 16th place. So Shadow's still struggling today, it must be said. Here's Esteban Ocon in the GRM. Currently second. Can he try and pip Leclerc to the top if he can? In the GRM. GRM actually showing some good pace indeed, especially from this man, Esteban Ocon, who just makes his way out of the final turn. And Ocon now then is going to cross the line. Can he improve? And no, he can't. Remains second with that lap. Lando Norris starting his lap now then. Norris now then remaining so far in 14th place. And obviously got spun by Hamilton. Obviously had a spin with Hamilton. So that would have done his tyres any good whatsoever. Kvyat does not improve. Remains where he is at the moment in 21st, so he's still struggling at the moment. Massa in to repair that front wing damage after having the crash with Hamilton just a little bit earlier. Leclerc does not improve, remains on a 1 minute 31.842 at the minute. Here's Ferdinand Hasberg down in 17th place. Let's see what the Season 4 IFMC GP3 champion can do as he makes his way into the final turn. And Hasberg now then is going to cross the line, and the young Austrian does not improve, remains 17th. For the moment, George Russell across the line will go the Mars Grand Prix driver, and he goes up to second. A big improvement there then from George Russell to get himself up into P2 in the Mars car. Andy Graham probably smiling with that one. Here is his teammate now then, Felix Rosenqvist, and he looks like he's made a mistake somewhere. 9/10 off the pace there then, and but then again he is 5/10 overall, so he's probably just not been able to push a little bit on that lap. Here comes Scott Dixon now then. We have just under 20 minutes to go in this testing session. Dixon now then making his way into the final corner, and Dixon now then is going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve. Dixon remains in 15th place there, as Arjun Maini now then does not improve, remains 12th. Romain Grosjean stays 11th for the meantime as Ocon goes into the pits. Lando Norris probably getting a little bit held up by Ocon there, but Norris will cross the line and then remains in 14th place for the minute. And Lando Norris, of course, competing in GP2 again, but this time with Red Bull Academy rather than Light Base Sony Racing, being loaned out to the Red Bull Academy team to replace Felix Rosenqvist, I believe it is, and with Guidiano Alesi also being loaned out by Martini Motorsport to partner alongside him to replace George Russell, and both Rosenqvist and Russell, of course, going to Mars Grand Prix for this season, and both of them currently in 2nd and 3rd teams, so both of them doing good job at the moment. Magnussen, though, look at his times, only 3 thousandths off Leclerc in the 2nd sector, so Magnussen could be on for a monstrous improvement, but it all depends really on how he can hook up this last sector. He was only 8 thousandths off in the 1st sector as well, so he was getting quite close to Leclerc's time, it must be said, to threatening it. Let's see what K-Mag can do now then as he makes his way up towards the final 2 turns. The Ferrari powered team's doing a good job today, it must be said, as Magnussen now then approaches the final corner, and onto the pit straight he will now go, as Magnussen now then will cross the line. Let's see if he can improve on his lap. And no, he can't. Loses a lot of time in the last sector and remains in 7th. So that's that for him really now then, as Dixon goes in. As Verline and Rowland and Bird and Kari are expected to do a lap in a bit. As now we'll have a look then at Pascal Verline. This is usually around the time where lap times start to come down anyway, so as the track is now starting to rubber in on the racetrack. And Verline now then just exiting out of the double right-hander on the track, heading in towards the left-hander he will now go, as he uses the curb on the outside there, then approaching into the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And so now into the final 2 corners then we go. Verline into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then we will go. And so Verline now then just starts his next flying lap, as he's currently in 22nd position and desperate to get out of that dreaded last place, as Daniel Ricciardo now comes out on the track for Etihad BMW, as now he comes out of turn 2, does Verline, and now heading in towards turns 3, 4 and 5 we will go. So through turn 3, then into turn 4, and then up towards the double right-hander we go, as now using a little bit of curve on the outside through this long swooping right-hander we go, as Verline now makes his way into the left-hander, going down the straight, and he's 2 tenths down in the 2nd sector, Let's see what his second in the first sector there then. So let's see what his second sector will be like as he comes down the long straight on the track. Just over 16.5 minutes to go now then in this session. Verline coming down the long straight now then, as he will soon approach the flat out right-hander on the track. Sparks coming off the back of the AMP. 1/10 down in the second sector, so we've got the gap down a little bit. As long as he can hook up this last sector very well, Verline could be on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see. We'll have to see if he ends up dropping 7/10 or not. But anyway, Verline now then using the curb on the outside, as he will now approach the final 2 corners then. As Verline then makes his way through the left-hander and then up towards the final corner will go Pascal Verline. Let's see what he's able to do now then as he makes his way down the straight. And Verline now then will come across the line. Can he improve? No, he actually lost a full second in that last sector. So he's really struggling to hook it up in that last sector, it must be said. As we now look at Ollie Rowland, across the line he will go. And he does not improve, remains where he is. Sainz and Verstappen and Hamilton, who's got into the T car, is now starting a lap. As here comes Sam Bird now then. Into the final 2 corners now then we go on the racetrack, as Bird uses a lot of curb there on the outside. Bird now then comes across the line. Can he improve? He does. He goes up to 13th, so a big improvement there then for Sam Bird. Here comes Nico Kari, currently 8th, and he remains 8th for that lap. Esteban Ocon starts a lap behind him, and as will Charles Leclerc and Stoffel Van Dorn. Sebastian Vettel on the track now then, as is Felipe Massa, the man who just came back in to repair the front wing after the crash with Lewis Hamilton. Here comes Sebastian Vettel now then into the final 2 turns on the racetrack, as Vettel now then uses a lot of curb on the outside there then. Let's see, can Vettel improve on his lap across the line? And no, he can't. Still behind Massa, remains in 6th. Massa, speaking of which, starting his lap, he'll be hoping that Kvyat in front of him does not hold him up. May have to pass him into turn 5, just as he did once he got up to 3rd place a little earlier on, but he doesn't look like he's got the slipstream on Kvyat, so that's that for him really. He'll probably have to pass him on the straight if he can. As Ricciardo now then, about to finish the lap, he'll be hoping that Verline in front doesn't hold him up, as we ride on board with Daniel Ricciardo now then into the final corner. And Ricciardo now then will come down the pit straight. This will be his final day in the car, because Etihad will have their new test driver, Joseph Newgarden, in the car tomorrow alongside Lewis Hamilton. So a reunion of Lewis Hamilton and Joseph Newgarden. The last time they were paired up together was back in Season 2 at Red Bull Audi, when they were teammates, of course, and they just missed out on the constructors in that, as the Sainz, Verstappen and Hamilton did not improve on their laps there then. So now we look at Ocon in the GRM approaching the final 2 turns, and let's see what he's able to do then on this lap, as he will now approach the final corner. And onto the pit straight he will now go, as going into the pits there is the Suomi. Ocon across the line, and he does not improve. Ocon remains in 3rd place for the moment, as everybody else is still waiting around in the pits. Leclerc doesn't improve, only by 300 though, so remains on a 1:31.842 that time by. Stoffel Van Dorn heads down the pit straight, and Van Dorn will cross the line, no improvement for him. Vettel goes in. Kvyat about to start a lap. I wonder if Massa got held up by Kvyat, and he did. 7/10 off the pace. That's 5/10 off his personal best for the moment, at least. As we'll try and get to one of the guys who's just come out of the pits. No, in fact, we'll go to Kvyat, because he's actually started a lap as we ride on board with the Russian now then, heading in towards turns 3, 4 and 5. And so through the left hand there we go, and then into the double right handers of turns 5 and 6 now then we will go. And so just going around the corner now then we go, as he makes his way around the left-hander. And let's see what Kvyat's second split is like. Sorry, first split. I keep on saying second split for some reason. 1/10 down in the first sector. We need to see how he hooks up this second sector, as the Audi V12 screams out the back of the Bud Light line there, then heading down this long straight, as Massa just backing off a bit. I think he's coming, well, he's obviously coming into the pits anyway, so he doesn't really need to pass the Russian at this point. Kvyat, let's see the second sector. 1/10 down still, but we need to see if he is able to hook up the last sector pretty well, as he goes through the double right-handers of turns 9 and 10 now then, using the curb on the outside there then as they go through into turn 11. And then through turn 12 we go. And then into the final two corners of turns 13 and 14 on the racetrack. And let's see what Danny Kvyat can do through the final corner. And onto the pit straight we go. Can Kvyat improve on his lap now then as the Russian crosses the line, and he can't. Loses time in the last set to remain second to last as George Russell starts a lap behind him now then as Magnussen and the Suomi there you can just see on the left hand side there just before we went on board with George Russell has just come out of the pits. We ride on board with Russell, currently second at the moment, just under 2 tenths behind Charles Leclerc. Russell doing a good job in this car, looking a little bit more comfortable than what he was in the Martini yesterday when he really struggled yesterday, only down in 20th yesterday it must be said, but feeling a lot more comfortable in the car that he will be driving throughout the season, the Mars Grand Prix car. Through turn 6 he goes, and then into the lighter degree left-hander of turn 7. Let's see what his first split is like. 400ths off Leclerc in the first sector. And of course, don't forget as well, the Eldorado and the Mars are being powered by the same engine, of course, the Ferrari V12. As now Russell heading down the long straight now then, as he'll soon approach the flat-out right-hander very, very soon. As now... let me just try and flip back to the right camera. Here he goes then, as he's now 300ths off Leclerc in the second sector. So Russell, I don't know for an improvement, but we'll see. As now we have just over 10 minutes to go now then in this session. We're 3 minutes away from the 4 o'clock mark. Russell now then through the left-hander he goes. Luckily not getting held up by Kvyat in front of him at the moment. As now he will approach the final 2 turns. Let's see what George Russell can do as he now makes his way into the final corner, and onto the pit straight now then goes George Russell, and the GP2 runner-up from last season is going to cross the line, and he does not improve, remains in second place with that lap. As we now look at Rosenqvist now then, he's just going around the double right-hander. This is Russell's teammate of course, and 2 tenths off in the second sector. Rosenqvist currently in 14th, still needing to find a little bit of time in the car. Through the left-hander he goes, uses the curb on the outside there then, as Rosenqvist now then approaches the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And let's see what the Swede can do as he will now approach the final corner. Onto the pit straight he will now go, as now Rosenqvist will cross the line, and no improvement for him, remains where he is at the moment. Grosjean about to start a lap there then, as does Lando Norris and Oliver Rowland, and as will Verline and Vettel and Kari. We now look at Ferdinand Hasberg in the Eldorado. Hasberg currently down in 18th, way off the pace of teammate Charles Leclerc at the moment. Hasberg now then through these final 2 turns. Let's see what he can do as he'll make his way down the long straight now then, and Hasberg is going to cross the line. Can he improve? And he can. He goes up to 12th, a big improvement there then from Hasberg. He gets up into P12 as one of the Etiads comes out of the pit lane there. That is Daniel Ricciardo, who's down in 9th. Maine doesn't improve, remains 13th. As we now look at Dixon, I don't know if Bird in front is holding him up. Through the final turn we go, as we ride on board with the Kiwi then. Scott Dixon is going to cross the line. Let's see what he can do, and he goes up to 14th, so he's able to improve on that lap. Russell going back in. Here is Kevin Magnussen in the Suomi. And Magnussen now then will cross the line, and let's see what the Dane can do, and he remains in 7th place, so no improvement for him then at this stage. Grosjean 2 tenths down in the middle sector there then, and probably not on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see what the Frenchman can do anyway, as now he uses a little bit of curb on the outside there then. And of course he is familiar to this track of course, because this is one of his home tracks as well, along with Ocon and Gasly, who are also on the grid as well. The other 2 Frenchmen on the grid. You could also say it's sort of Leclerc's home race as well, because we're not obviously going to Monaco this season, unfortunately. Still haven't found a track that works for that. But anyway, Leclerc now, Grosjean now then. Across the line we go, and he does not improve, remains in 11th place, as Lando Norris is going to cross the line, and Norris does not improve, remains 17th with that lap, as Rowland has actually improved to go up into 18th, so only getting to place from that. Verline remains in last place, still 8 tenths off Leclerc at the moment. Vettel across the line he goes, and he remains in 6th place. Nico Kari in the Suomi, across the line he will go, and he remains 8th at this stage. Ricciardo starting a lap, Anybody else behind him on the lap? It doesn't appear like it. We'll now look at Sam Bird now then. Into the final turn. And let's see what Sam Bird can manage now then as he makes his way down the pit straight. And Bird now then will cross the line. And he improves to go up to 15th. So an improvement there then from Sam Bird. Doing a lot better than what teammate Carlos Sainz Jr. is doing at the minute. And now we look at Ricciardo who's on a lap. And let's see what his first split is going to be like. As the Honey Badger now then comes out of the first sector. 1/10 down for Leclerc in the first sector. We ride on board with the Honey Badger now then. Heading down the long straight before approaching the flat out turn 8. As just under 7 minutes to go then. Here for day 3 at Paul Ricard. As now Ricciardo now then approaches the flat out right hander. He will soon go. So Flatty will go then through this right hander. And let's see his second split. Still 1/10 down in the second sector. We'll see if the Honey Badger is able to improve now then. As he makes his way through the double right-hander now then. Ricciardo using the curb on the outside there then as he makes his way through the left-hander. Using the curb on the outside there then. That's now they make their way into the final 2 turns now then. On the racetrack through the left-hander. And then in towards the final corner we go. And Ricciardo, let's see if he can find some time to improve in the Etihad. Heading down the pit straight, and Ricciardo is going to cross the line. And he doesn't improve, remains 9th for the moment. Still 4 tenths overall off Charles Leclerc at the minute. As Sainz and Verstappen and Ocon are about to start laps very, very soon now then. We'll look at Sainz now then, who's in front of these two at the moment. Through the left-hander he goes. As just under 5 3/4 minutes to go now then in this session. As we've just passed the 4 o'clock mark for anybody wondering. Sainz now then into the final corner. Now one of the news that obviously came out today in fact is that we have, along with obviously a few weeks ago we announced that a new team was coming in to IFMC GP3. Well, I say new team, it's actually a familiar face. Bruno de Barros making a return in the IFMC fraternity, this time via GP3, via a different name, not the AMI Incorporated team they previously ran, but this time the Julius, I think it's the Julia Sarius, the Julius Wine Sari 12 team, it's called, that's the one, Julius Wine Sari 12, the team is called. But today we've announced another new team that's entering GP3, so the second of 2 new teams entering the season. And it's actually a team known as Team Wales Racing, ran by Jamie Griffiths, whoever watches GP4OC, you should know who Jamie Griffiths is. He is in the Lotus test driver in that. But he is now running a team in IFMC GP3 under the name of Team Wales Racing. And he's also announced his drivers today, as did Bruno de Barros a few weeks ago. Team Wales Racing will be having Yuri Vips, the former RSPCA racing driver in IFMC GP2. But he's obviously now been replaced by Jack Aitken in that series. And his other driver being Marcus Ericsson, the former Bud Light Line Motorsport test driver. So that's their driver lineup in IFMC GP3. So Ericsson will finally get, well, for the first time since Austria in Season 3, he will be racing. Because he raced in the main class as a result of Antonio Giovinazzi getting a race ban in Season 3. But he's now getting a full-time seat in IFMC GP3 with the new Team Wales Racing. And in the Julius Wine Sari 12 team, their driver lineup will consist of Andrea Lotterer and Loic Duval, so pretty much a Formula E lineup there then, as both of them, well, Loic Duval doesn't compete in Formula E anymore, but he did, and Lotterer's in there. Sainz doesn't improve, he remains where he is. Verstappen doesn't improve either, as Dixon starts a lap, as does Kvyat, as does George Russell, and Leclerc, and Maney, and Rosenquist, and Hasberg. Now we will look at Esteban Ocon now then, he's just coming up towards the final 2 turns, just 3.5 minutes to go now then in this session. Let's see what the Frenchman can do into the final turn and onto the pit straight now. Then we go, and Ocon is going to cross the line, and he does not improve. Ocon remains in 3rd place. And just a note for anybody wondering as well, GP2 and GP3 will still have the V10 engine in the back of them, not the V12s like the top class guys are doing. GP2 and GP3 will still have the V10 in the back of their cars respectively. So maybe there are plans for the future possibly to have a different engine in the back of them, but for now they're just keeping hold of the V10s, the GP2 and GP3s. As Massa now then heading in towards the final 2 turns on his lap, as is Hamilton. Well, keep it clean this time, boys. As now Massa heads down the pit straight. Can he improve on his lap? No, he can't. Remains 5th. What about Hamilton? Nope, remains in 4th place. So probably getting held up by Massa, it seems. Here comes Van Dorn now then in towards the final corner he goes. And the Belgian now then will cross the line. Can Van Dorn improve upon his dismal 20th place? No, he can't. Remains 20th for that lap. AMP still struggling, must be said, even with the switch to the Mercedes. Then you have to question whether it's something to do with the chassis, or who knows, maybe they're drivers, who knows. But I'm not going to take anything away from Pascal and Stoffer, but they're clearly struggling in that car at the moment. As Dixon now then will cross the line, and Dixon does not improve. He remains in 14th place. Kvyat remains 21st. He's been struggling today, it must be said. Russell remains 2nd. Leclerc does not improve, remains on a 31.842 at this stage. Arjun Maini now then heading out of the final corner, and let's see what Arjun Maini can do. And he does not improve, remains in 13th place for the moment, as Rosenquist remains 16th. Hasberg remains 12th for the moment. So Grosjean's just about to start a lap, and just trying to find somebody else who's on a lap other than him at the moment. So Grosjean starts a lap, and so he's just about to start one. There's a few more cars now, they're just about to come out of the pits there, and then just under 1.5 minutes to go in this session. We're pretty much on the final flying laps now, then it must be said. Grosjean then on his final flying lap as he just goes around turns 3, 4, and then into 5 he will soon go. The double right-handers have turns 5 and 6. So through the right he goes, using the curb on the outside, and then going around this long curve of turn 6, a lift, and then onto the power straight away. Grosjean now then up towards turn 7, this 90-degree left-hander. Let's see what his first split is like. 2 tenths off Leclerc in the first sector. His former teammate, in fact, for 4 races in IFMC back in Season 3. As meantime, Van Dorn gets the checkered flag next to his name, so Van Dorn is done for today. As we go down towards the long straight, Grosjean now then will approach the long swooping right-hander of turn 8, a flat-out corner. Let's see what his second split is like. 4 tenths down in the second sector. It doesn't look like Grosjean is on an improvement. He's just probably going to get a mileage run for the team. Dixon now with the checkered flag next to his name. He's finished, as has Kvyat, so he's finished for the day. As is Leclerc and Russell. The top 2 have got checkered flags next to their names. As now Grosjean will approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Let's see what the Frenchman can do. Round the left-hander, as Maini now then gets the checkered flag next to his name. As Grosjean round the final corner onto the pit straight. Hasberg now getting the checkered flag next to his name, along with Felix Rosenquist. Heading down the pit straight. Can Grosjean improve? No, he can't. It doesn't improve by a second. 2 seconds left on the clock. 1-0. Checkered flag is out, and that's the end of the session. I believe Magnussen will be allowed, because X-Packs usually allows drivers to do another lap anyway. Same with Lando Norris. So we'll wait for these guys to finish off their laps as well. So now Magnussen just going around the final turn, as he will go down the pit straight now then to start a lap, as he will now make his way down towards turns 1 and 2 on the racetrack now then, as Magnussen goes into turn 1 and then into turn 2 now then he will go, as he uses quite a bit of curve on the outside now then, heading in towards these section of corners through the right, then the left, and then into the double right-hander he will soon go. And now through this double right-hander he goes, and then into the long swooping right-hander he will go now then on the racetrack, as Dixon now then gets the checkered flag next to his name. I think that just popped up. Might be wrong on that one, but Magnussen now then heading down the long straight, 3 tenths off in the first sector, so I don't know if he's actually pushing. I think he's probably just trying to get a mileage run for the team as he comes down the long straight on the track. Heading up towards the flat-out turn 8, he will soon come up towards now then, as he will make his way up towards that corner now then. Flat he will go through this right-hander. Let's see what his second split is like anyway. Still 3 tenths down in the second sector, so yeah, probably not on for an improvement. He was probably just trying to get a few miles under his belt in this car, because of course he hasn't been part of the testing for the first 2 days. He is for the final 2 days though, from what we understand. As the Suomi's doing a good job today. Magnussen 7th and Kari in 8th position, so both of them doing a grand job, it must be said, as the Suomi now then makes his way into the final 2 turns, and we'll see anyway if he's able to improve, but I doubt it, as he now comes down the straight and into the final sector, And, yep, no improvement there then for Kevin Magnussen. Here's Lando Norris on a lap as Grosjean gets the checkered flag next to his name. So he's now done, obviously, because he completed his final flying lap with 2 seconds left on the clock. As now in towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Let's see what Lando Norris can do then in the Martini. He's the final man to do a lap across the line. Goes Lando Norris. Can he find some time to improve? And no, he can't. He remains 17th. With that lap, and that is going to do it. That is the end of day 3 here at Paul Ricard. So after all of that, here was the results of day 3 here at Le Castellet. Leclerc fastest with Russell 2nd, Ocon 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Massa 5th, Vettel 6th, Magnussen 7th, Kari 8th, Ricciardo 9th, Verstappen 10th, Grosjean 11th, Hasberg 12th, Maney 13th, Dixon 14th, Bird 15th, Rosenquist 16th, followed by Norris 17th, Rowland 18th, Sainz 19th, Vandon 20th, Kvyat 21st, and Verline in 22nd position. The whole pack separated by 8 tenths. It's not the closest we've seen throughout the 2 days, but it's still very close indeed. It's still under a second between the whole pack. So we will wait for Norris to go back into the pits. We'll then remind you of what the results were, and then we will end this live stream for today. And then we'll only have one more day here at Paul Ricard before we head off to Jerez next weekend. As Norris now then will approach the flat out right hander we go, as he's obviously heading back into the pits this lap. And so through the double right hander now then we will go, as now he will approach the left hander. Now then will come Lando Norris, as he will now come down towards the final 2 turns, and then he'll go back into the pits this lap. Now then through the left hander he will go, and then into the final corner will go Lando Norris, as he will soon pull to the right, which he does. So into the pits then comes Lando Norris, and he will soon head back into the menu screen. It should do. There you go, back onto the menu screen. There you have it then. That is the end of day 3 here at Paul Ricard. A reminder then of what the leaderboard looked like. It was Charles Leclerc fastest with George Russell 2nd, Esteban Ocon 3rd, Lewis Hamilton 4th, Felipe Massa 5th, Sebastian Vettel 6th, Kevin Magnussen 7th, Nico Kari 8th, Daniel Ricciardo 9th, Max Verstappen 10th, Romain Grosjean 11th, Ferdinand Hasberg 12th, followed by Arjun Maney 13th, Scott Dixon 14th, Sam Bird 15th, Felix Rosenquist 16th, Lando Norris 17th, Oliver Rowland 18th, Carlos Sainz Jr. 19th, Stoffel Vandon 20th, Daniel Kvyat 21st, and Pascal Verline in 22nd and last. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it from day 3 here at Paul Ricard. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been a very exciting day. 3 different drivers topping the session throughout the first 3 days. Will we have a 4th different man topping the session tomorrow? Let's hope so indeed. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. Hope you enjoy it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at a later time of 6 PM GMT. I'm hoping it's 6 PM GMT. If it's any later than that, because I had other commitments, because it was initially scheduled for 4 PM GMT, but I've had to push it back to 6 PM GMT. I'm hoping it is 6 PM GMT. I think it should be, but if any plans change and I have to push it back a little bit later on, I will let you know tomorrow before any of that happens. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the final day of testing here at Paul Ricard. Until then, take care.